All right, let's talk about something that's on pretty much everyone's mind, making a little extra money. But here's the twist. What if you could build a real working cash flow system with just $100? Today, we're going to break down exactly how that's possible. We've all heard this a million times, right? It feels like this giant brick wall that just pops up whenever you have a cool idea. It's the kind of thinking that honestly kills amazing ventures before they even get off the ground.
But what if that wall is more like a speed bump? I mean, really, can $100, what some of us might spend on a night out, actually be enough to kickstart a real system? Well, the source material we're digging into today says absolutely 100% yes.
And that's exactly what this is all about. We're here to completely dismantle that myth. We're going to look at a framework designed to tear down that barrier to entry that holds so many people back.
Here's the big mindset shift. The real roadblock isn't the number in your bank account, not really. It's the old school thinking that you need a huge pile of cash to get started. The secret is finding a smarter approach, a better system.
Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts of this thing. The big idea is to stop thinking about capital and start thinking about levers. You know, a lever lets you use just a little bit of force to move something huge. Well, the financial lever we're going to be using is something called a cash flow loop.
So what in the world is a cash flow loop? Well, it's definitely not a get-rich-quick scheme. Think of it more like a recipe. It's a simple, repeatable process where you put a small amount of money in, our $100, you run it through the steps, and you get a bigger amount out. And the most important part? You can do it over and over again.
You know, I'm going to pause here for a second because this is the key to everything. This is the mantra. Your $100, that's just the fuel. The system you build, that's the engine. And once you've built the engine, you can keep putting fuel in it again and again.
All right, enough theory, right? Let's get our hands dirty with the first practical example. This first loop is a total classic, and it's super straightforward. It's called the product flip. The process is almost beautifully simple. First, you're a treasure hunter. You use your startup cash to find things that other people have overlooked. Think thrift stores, flea markets, you name it. Then you add a little value, a quick polish, a small fix, and finally, you resell it for what it's actually worth. And this is where it gets really, really interesting. We are not talking about a tiny 5% return here. Oh no. A single good flip could easily net you a 50 to 200% return on your money. So you buy it all table for 20 bucks, you sand it down, and you sell it for 60. Boom! That's a 200% profit you can immediately loop back into finding the next hidden gem.
Okay, on to loop number 2. Now maybe you're thinking, I don't want to deal with physical stuff, with shipping and all that. Well, this one's for you. It's called service arbitrage, and it's all about leveraging skills, even skills you don't actually have yourself. Here's how this plays out. You become the ultimate middleman, the project manager. First, you find a client who needs something done, maybe a new logo for their business. Then you hop onto a freelance website and hire a great designer to do the work for a set price. You deliver the awesome final product to the client, and you just keep the difference. Your real value is being the connector.
And this just perfectly illustrates the power of leverage, right? You don't need to be a design wizard. Your skill is communication and finding people. And even if you're only making a margin of, say, 25 or 50 bucks per project, that adds up fast. And your initial $100, that could just be used to run a small ad to land that very first client.
Okay, let's get to our third and final loop. This one is perfect for anybody who loves the idea of building something that's a little more hands-off, a little more passive. This is the micro vending system, and it's about putting a physical asset to work for you 24/7.
Now, this might sound a little old school, but trust me, the business model is rock solid. You take your $100 and buy a simple, used candy or gumball machine. Step 2 is the most important part. You get permission to put it in a local spot with lots of foot traffic. Think a laundromat or a local repair shop. After that, your only job is to swing by once a month to collect the quarters and refill the candy.
And I mean, just look at this chart. It really tells the story. Your initial cost is $100. That's it. One time. But that one little machine could bring in, let's say, $50 in revenue every single month. After you pay for the candy, you're left with $35 in pure profit. That is a 35% return on your investment every single month. In less than 3 months, that machine has totally paid for itself, and you can use the profits to buy a second one.
So we've gone through 3 powerful, totally different cash flow loops. But, you know, just listening to these ideas isn't where the magic is. The most crucial step is taking one of these ideas and actually putting it into practice. And there's a really simple framework for that.
a 90-day challenge.
Now, the objective here is not to become a millionaire overnight. The goal is simple. It's achievable. Get one of these loops up and running and make it profitable within 90 days. It's all about proving to yourself, on a small scale, that the system works.
And as you get going, just keep these 3 core principles in your back pocket. They are the foundation for everything. First, start small. Remember, that $100 is just a tool to test the system. Second, systematize everything. Don't just find one good deal, create a process for how you find deals. And third, this one's the most important, reinvest. Take every dollar of profit from that first cycle and pour it right back into the next one. That is how the loop gets bigger and stronger.
And really, that's what it all comes down to. We've seen that the biggest barrier isn't money. It's just having the right system. We've looked at the product flip, service arbitrage, and micro-vending, 3 totally different levers that anyone can pull. So the only question left is the one right here. Which lever are you going to pull first?